Okay. Let's see if we can find out why J-Lo has been married 1900 times. So, Leo's son, I think we would have all guessed that just by looking at her or just watching one movie. Like, she obviously likes to be the center of attention, the king of the jungle, all that Leo stuff. Very egotistical. Yeah. Scorpio moon. Uh-oh. It is shocking how many Scorpios are in that industry. I mean, to some degree, but if you think a little more about it, greater way to exercise your feelings than to either put them into a character or torture other people with them. Ugh. I can also see them being like willing to do anything because once you have so many feelings that you just don't want to deal with and don't know how to deal with, that you just split, your subconsciousness splits from your consciousness, your conscious mind. So you have that disconnection within. So say there's like a disconnect between your heart and your mind, which already makes for a pretty tough predicament. But then if you split from objective reality, then that's where it gets really dangerous, because that's when you'll do anything for anybody, to anybody. And since you've already split from your own emotions, you won't really feel, your conscious mind won't feel bad about it. Your subconscious will feel worse and worse and worse about it, but they're not connected. So you'll just have like this weird feeling that you're never going to look at or identify or do anything about. But you'll chase outward factors to make up for it. Hence why they do anything, if that makes sense. Maybe we'll go over it more later. So Mercury Leo, I can see that. She seems very like headstrong and in your face and just very, she's not going to hold back what she has to say. Let's just say that much. Mars, Sagittarius, those damn Sagittarius, the air sign of fire signs. So she's very, very passionate about things for little bits of time. She's all in, 150% in for like little bits of time, for like a year. And then she'll get bored and move on to something else. That's a Sagittarius in a nutshell. Sagittarius has the shortest attention span of all the fire signs. And fire signs have all the energy, all the passion, all the execution, all the go-getterness that you need to just get up and do anything. Sagittarius are going to give up first. They're going to just get bored, distracted first, because they're the air. They have an air about them where they're just like, ooh, shiny disco ball. Oops, I forgot what I was doing. Aries are more long haul. Like an Aries, they'll see it through, especially if they have land in their chart to help them out. Leo will see it through. Leo is fixed fire. The Leo starts something, it will finish it, even if it's just for its own ego. It can't accept defeat ever, so it's going to get it done. So her Mars is in Sagittarius, so that's interesting. The way she attacks the world is being very, very passionate about things for a little bit of time, and then being equally as passionate about something else. Jupiter Libra. That's interesting. Libra is like your little extra, your little sprinkle on top. Oh, but then again, a Libra is 0, so she basically got nothing extra. But no, a Libra, like, I don't really see her like caring about justice or equality for anyone or anything. She seems very much a Leo. Like, she wants to be on top and everyone else is subordinate. So interesting. And she doesn't seem very like light and airy either. She doesn't seem like she lets things go easily either. She seems more like a Scorpio moon that would like carry around all the traumas, all the resentments, and just let it seep out in other ways, in your art, in your relationships, in your songs, whatever your artistic expression is. Her Saturn is a Taurus. I mean, again, a lot of astrology is open to interpretation, but the way what first popped into my mind is that Taurians, like, well, other than luxury things, they like just kind of building, creating a home, just steadiness, stability, all like those good things, just something very solid and like a rock, just like a rock, trustworthy, solid, stable, all those good things. Her Saturn is her lesson to learn. So that's what she is here to learn in life. And the way Saturn teaches you is basically by hurting you. So Saturn is usually a hard lesson. So, I mean, maybe that explains all the divorces. It could. She's perpetually trying to like build a family, build a nice relationship. I assume nobody would get married that many times because they're trying to build a little hell. So I would assume if you're getting married that many times, you want like your stability, your family, your foundation, like all those good, solid things like a rock that you can build anything else up on. But she just keeps falling short or breaking those marriages. I don't know. That's just the first thing that popped into my mind. It could be a lot of other things too. There's a lot that a Taurus brings. I think there's always a lot of different lessons to be learned. So that's just one of them. North Node Pisces. Weird. That's weird. What? Oh, okay, I guess, yeah, that's a path she's going towards. That's like what will bring her fulfillment and happiness. Just sitting around and being lazy, smoking a little pot, dreaming, philosophizing, if that's not too hard. Like your if I had like one image of your typical Pisces, it would be like your typical frat boy. That's like the image of a Pisces is like your average frat boy. It's just like sits around and is lazy and thinks about doing some stuff and talks about doing some stuff, but ultimately just gets high and then tries to convince you why getting high is good for you. Mainly just justify their own deeds and make themselves feel better because they're just so lost. They're just lost. Lost between air and water. The fishes going in opposite directions. Just lost between up and down. Which way's which? I can't with Pisces. Ugh. I think I said this in another video, but like if a Libra is 0, just absolutely superfluous, doesn't need to be in the zodiac even. Pisces is like a 1. It's just, it does a little bit more, but not really. Pisces is credited as being like mystical or just, I actually feel like all the attributes that are attributed to Pisces are just out of pity because they really don't have any. So they just thought of a bunch of random words that really don't fit and really don't describe Pisces. A Pisces is just kind of lost. It doesn't really have an identity of its own. Well, okay. So if it's your North Node, transcend those Scorpio feelings, transmute that Scorpio moon to something lighter and more airy. Take those feelings and take them from your heart, turn them into lessons, theories, something that can help others. Just get them out of your heart and into your brain. That's what you can do with Pisces. That's how you can connect those two. That would bring her happiness. Because your North Node, if you walk your North Node, that's your path to happiness, basically. that is what would bring her happiness, just to transmute those deep, deep, deep scorpionic feelings / wounds, make sense of them, even though Pisces isn't great at making sense of anything. Just take them from water to air, and hopefully maybe you can turn those fish around and they'll be going in the same direction. Just connect the two. But again, back to that Pisces, like whimsical, airy, the air sign of water signs. Like, actually, I don't see that in her at all. I don't. I was gonna say I see her trying to be that, but maybe I'm just thinking of her wedding dresses or the fairy tale. I feel like anybody who gets married that much is chasing some kind of weird fairy tale in your mind. That's not the path to her Pisces North Node. It's not a fairy tale. It's taking what is in real life, this reality, what is real, tangible, what has been done, what you have, and doing better with it. Change it up, switch and reverse it into something that you really want and that will bring you everlasting happiness. So that's all I have. I don't have her ascendant. Shit. So nobody knows J-Lo's birth time. Come on. Come on. Somebody has to know this. Lame. Lame. Well, shit. Now this makes me question, is this even her real birth date? Because she does seem like someone who would lie about her age. Always got to be aware of that when you look at celebrities' birth dates, is that they will shave years off their they will shave years off their life. That might be true too, but they'll shave years off their birth date just so they are younger for the role. Can't be old. So, assuming this is the right birth date, what do I have here? July 24th, 1969. Is that real? I don't know. Somebody tell me. This is what her chart says. She's a Leo. She loves being the center of attention. She has an ego. She's a fixed fire. She has a lot of power. She can do lots in life. I think she has. So she's exercising that well. Scorpio moon is rough on anybody. However, well, don't know how much it would affect her because she has that Leo to kind of counterbalance it. And if you were to exercise your Leo more and kind of just, for lack of a better word, like sequester, tame your Scorpio, it could be all right. But she does actually seem like somebody who's kind of overcompensating for repressed feelings in all those marriages. Again, people who try to love themselves through others, which I never agree with. I do not believe in finding yourself through others and loving yourself through others and liking yourself through others. No. If you want something done, do it yourself. If you want something done, you want it to last, do it yourself. If you want something done easily and temporarily, fine, have somebody else do it for you. But it's not going to last. The second that person leaves, you're going to go right back probably to a worse state than you were because you've lost so much time in between. So technically, since time moves forward with or without us, you're actually further behind. Like, say you got in a relationship with somebody because you loved the way they saw you. And then 2-3 years later, you break up. Are you in the same place or are you in a worse place? Because it is 2 or 3 years later. So technically, if you don't factor in time, you're the same person you were at the start of that relationship as you were at the end of the relationship. However, when you do factor in time, you're actually 3 years behind because you just wasted all that time and energy you could have been putting into yourself into somebody else. So, liking yourself, loving yourself through others ain't the way. Ain't the way. Take a minute, take just time for yourself and, look at yourself, like yourself. It's not that hard. Everybody has things they need to work on. Everybody has positive attributes too. Just, if you don't want to look at yourself, just look at your chart. All the answers are there anyway. So look at your chart. Let that be your starting point. Someone should tell J-Lo this. It would help her. Because I actually tried to watch that weird documentary thing she did. It's for Amazon. I watched it because I thought it would be funny because everybody was making fun of it. and I got sick of seeing the clips. I was like, I just want to see the whole damn thing. And then I think it was a musical. It was a musical, and it was like on Amazon. And I tried to watch the whole thing. I was like, oh my god, no, no, I couldn't. I couldn't. Just no. I was like, the clips are all I need. I'm good. No, God, it was awful. It was like a making of a movie. It was recent, like within the last year or two. I think it had something to do with Ben Affleck. Whatever it was horrible. But from what I got from that, like, because it was like about all her relationships, but in like a make believe way. You know what? That documentary was very Pisces. It was very just wrong and just very going in different directions and counterproductive and confusing and all the negative things. That documentary was extremely Pisces of her. But oh, I mean, it was great fodder. Again, the only reason why we should be looking at these celebrities is to laugh at them because A, they give us a lot of material, and B, that's the best thing they can bring. It's just to help us laugh. Laughter is always good. Laughter is the answer to a lot of things. If we just simply laughed at the situation, like removed ourselves and our emotions from it and could just simply laugh at it, a lot of life is actually really, really funny. So I always feel like that's a better way of going about things. Laughter is always good. It releases all the positive endorphins and just helps balance your brain out more than you know. So, oh yeah, that awful documentary. I basically kind of gathered that she's been searching through love, through others, her whole life because, again, everything relates back to childhood. There was something in her childhood. She didn't love herself or she wasn't loved by her parents. One of the two. Maybe both. Because if your parents don't love you, like that can genuinely be rough. And then you kind of, even if it's subconsciously, grow up with the feeling of like, well, I'm unlovable. If my own parents didn't even love me, then that must mean I'm unlovable. So you just spend the rest of your life desperately trying to find somebody to love you. And it's more of like a desperate overcompensation and a need more so than a just option or a want or a voluntary thing. Like it's a desperate need. It's not just as it should be, just optional, voluntary, not mandatory. But if that is the case, like she didn't feel love from her parents and she has a Scorpio moon, that could be a big wound. Because again, you can take, this is a good example, take an Aries moon, take a Scorpio moon, a Taurus moon, and a Gemini moon. Take all those 4 moons, because moons are your emotions, moons are your heart, and say they had the exact same experience in life. Say they didn't feel love from their parents. Well, how would they deal with that? An Aries moon would probably say something, do something. They would probably just say to their parents that, like, hey, I felt in love. What's up with that? Or they would just do something about it. They would find a way to love themselves. They would do it on their own. Just, they'll take care of it. Don't worry about fire signs. They got themselves. A Taurus moon would feel it, but then logically think about it and apply all the logic and rationale that comes with land signs and be like, okay, why didn't I feel this? Did I do something wrong, or is it something within you? Am I the issue? Are you the issue? Just very factual, realistic, tangible. Let's take all the variables, all the real life factors, put them together and solve the problem. That's what a Taurus would do. So it would be very rational and kind of not unemotional. You feel the emotions, you start from the emotions, but then you'll solve them with your mind. A Gemini, the airiest of air signs, would just be like, what? Just if they felt anything, no, they probably wouldn't even feel it. They would just think that I'm like, they would just probably think that, hey, you don't act like other people's parents. Why? And they would definitely talk about it. They would over talk about it. And they would figure it out. They're very cerebral. Like they're good at figuring things out. They're not the best in bringing things into reality, but They're good at thinking. They're good at solving the problems. They'll figure it out. It might take some mental exercise or some just experience, years of life to figure it out, but they'll figure it out. It's not going to weigh them down emotionally because they perceive the world through their mind, not their heart. Now, a Scorpio moon, same thing happens to them. That is going to be an everlasting trauma that they carry around, that they subconsciously react to their entire life. And when you're subconsciously reacting to things, especially negative things, you tend to just draw or create more negative things. It's kind of just the way it works. If you start with negative energy, you get negative results. You get what you give. Laws of the universe. So, her Scorpio moon, that's the way a Scorpio moon would take that in comparison to those other signs. Just saying that to relay the fact that Scorpio moons feel the deepest. And when you feel things, especially if you're a child and you don't know what to do about your feelings, or there's no one to guide you or help you express it, or to guide you through the different ways to exercise it and get it off your chest and just translate your emotions into words, say what you need to say, do what you need to do to alleviate yourself from it. If there's no one to kind of explain that to you, especially as a child, you're just going to store it. You have no choice. It's not your fault. You're born with that Scorpio moon. You feel things the deepest. And when you don't know what to do about all those feelings, they tend to just get repressed, whether you realize it or not. It's not a conscious thing, especially as a child. A lot of what we learn is on a subconscious level. And if we never identify that as we turn into adults and connect our conscious mind to our subconscious, that's where all the problems start. I mean, it's okay, you can get away with that when you're a child, but then like in teen years, as you turn into an adult, like 18 to 20, it's time to, your mind is developed enough to use it to confront those feelings, think about them, apply some logic, exercise those emotions, do something positive with them. There's always something positive to be done, even if it literally is just exercise. When I say exercise, I mean more like as in the term of an exorcist, as opposed to like literal physical exercise. I mean, like, get it off your chest, get it out of you. And you can do that in many different forms: literal physical exercise, or therapy, music, art. Create art, transmute your emotions into some lesson, something that everyone can learn from, something that other people can feel, because those feelings are so deep within you that nobody knows them better than you. So you can explain them, express them for a lot of people. That's the best thing that can be done with those water signs, all of them, but particularly Scorpios and Cancers, because they feel the deepest. So say she had like trauma, repressed emotion as a child that was never confronted, and the only thing she knew to do about it, because that Leo sun and Leo Mercury, was overcompensate and be the king of the jungle or the queen of Hollywood. I mean, and I think she's done that. She had the power to do so. I mean, that Leo, there's a reason why, like, the majority of sun signs in Hollywood are Leos. Like, they love it there. It's just that Leo ego, the greatest executor of the fire signs. If a Leo starts something, they will finish. They have all the passion, all the energy in the world. If they're competing against somebody, they'll get it done. They have the power to do so. The power and the ego. It's so funny that the ego is just nothing more than an overcompensation for insecurities. That's all it is. It's not confidence. Having a huge ego does not mean you have confidence. It means that you are desperately overcompensating for your insecurities, despite the fact that she's done a lot in her life. She's accomplished a lot, and I think it's been on her own. I'm not really too sure, but from my peripheral knowledge of her, she doesn't seem like she's social climbed her way to the top. She seems like she actually worked for it, but I cannot say that for sure. She did date Diddy after all. So, yeah, I wouldn't trust anyone in that circle. But, I mean, from the outside, it looks like she worked for her accomplishments. It looks like she worked for them, and when you do legitimately work for your own accomplishments, that's what equals confidence, whether you mean to or not. Like, that's what builds your confidence, is doing shit on your own, so you know your capabilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, where there's room for improvement, and just how to get better and stronger next time. So she should have some confidence if she got there on her own. And sometimes building that confidence up ourselves can make up for certain insecurities. Maybe not deep, deep wounds, like scorpionic wounds, but it's always good to try. The Leo in her certainly seems to be trying. I just wonder why it's not working. It doesn't seem to be working anyway. Oh, anyway, say she does have any sort of childhood repressed traumas and she's been trying to use her Leo because that's what her natural instinct would be. Leo's very strong. It's very, very overriding. It would take over her zodiac and be like, we'll just do this. We'll just be king of the jungle and then they'll love us. Then they'll like us. That's exactly what a Leo would do. And it would definitely override the Sagittarius and the Libra. Everything would override Libra. And I don't know what her ascendant sign is, but I would love to, because that would kind of make or break the chart where we stand, because there's an equal amount of positives and negatives. It could go this way as easily as it could go this way. So she's been trying to use her Leo to overcompensate for her deep Scorpio wounds, whereas I think she needs to use her Libra. She needs to use her brain more and just get a lot more up here and a lot less in here, and just confront those feelings and ask yourself why she feels these feelings. It's because you're a Scorpio. You can't help it. You feel the deepest. It's the way it is. I know. I have Scorpio in me. I know it sucks. But what you exercise more gets stronger. So exercise your airiness. Exercise the Libra, the just wanting everything fair and equal and just, and mostly being light and airy and just just levitate those feelings upward. Bring them up to the surface. Bring them up to your mind so you can actually think about them logically and just come to some sort of solution. Just because you've already tried doing something about it. The fire in her has tried doing something about it, and I think it's loving herself through others, through husbands, basically. Whereas she could just use her Libra and her airiness and just the cerebral parts of you. All air signs are very cerebral, very just, everything is mental to them. They perceive the world through their minds. Everything is a theory, a thought, words. It's not emotions. It's not feelings. Two very different things. Sometimes they talk so damn much you do think they feel a lot, but no, they're just talking. It's still all up here. They're just talking. They're talking in circles. They're talking themselves out of the point. They're making a point and then arguing their own point. It's just a lot of talking. That they need to hone. That they need to kind of corral and put some limits on. It can be a lot, especially if you're the one listening. But in this case, I would say she's tried to do something about that, and it hasn't worked, seemingly. So now, try just living with it. Use that Libra to confront it, to tell yourself it's okay, and to just make some sense of it. Turn it into a lesson that you can learn from so you don't repeat it, and your kids can learn from, others can learn from. Make a piece of art, a song, a movie, not like that god-awful one, but something that other people can learn from, because then if other people are learning from your mistakes, disasters, something good came from it. There's something good to be found at the end of the day. So it wasn't just a complete waste or a complete loss. Something good came of it if other people are learning from it. It's my theory anyway. There's always some good to be found. So that would be my advice. She needs to exercise that Libra and make it a little more prevalent in her life, in herself. And then once she does that, then the Leo can take back over, but hopefully it'll be taking over for better purpose, a less selfish purpose. There's still always that ego of the Leo to contend with. And I don't think the Libra can do that much. Well, Libra's not that efficient or good at doing anything. Like a Libra ain't going to take care of a Leo's ego. That would probably take some deeper therapy. But I wonder if she's ever done therapy. But see, that's the thing with when really egotistical or psychopathic people go into therapy. It's so variable because it depends on the therapist. But they can essentially just tell the therapist whatever they want to hear, essentially playing the therapist, say if the psychopath or court order to go there. Or if you're more so just very egotistical or you're a clinical narcissist, you would just go there and, well, a clinical narcissist would just be showing an image of themselves. So there would be a lot, it would take a really good psychotherapist to identify that, and then kind of, they would have to form their questions in a way to kind of trick or trap them or get the real guts of the information or them out, as opposed to just a facade and the image they've created for the world itself. And then somebody who's just very egotistical, I mean, they could essentially just be using a therapist to suit their ego, just telling a therapist certain things. So like they're always the victim, or they're always whatever. Just they're always better than somebody else, whatever the ego needs to hear at any moment in time. And a bad therapist would probably just give in and say whatever they're meant to at the time. It's only really, really good therapists that would see beyond that and like care to do something more about it. So that's why it's therapy. It's so variable and it's so dependent on the therapist itself, and then your relationship with that therapist, because sometimes you just don't like their vibe or you don't feel safe with them. And then are you going to trust them with your deepest secrets? Probably not. And then there's some therapists that don't really care to be there. They're just there for the money. And then there's ones that do care, but don't necessarily know how, or their life is just as messed up. So how are they even going to start to help you? It's so variable. That's why I'm just know your chart. Know your chart. Honestly, your chart is all you need. Like your chart can save you years of therapy. And I say that with confidence. I mean it. As somebody who's always studied psychology, the way the mind works, the way the body works, the way they work together and against each other, like I can say that with confidence. Knowing your chart is more powerful, more potent, more effective than most therapies. Take that to the bank. I promise you that. I do. I really, really, I say that wholeheartedly and confidently. Everything you need is in your chart. So, yeah, that's the answer to J-Lo. She needs to exercise her Libra, be lighter, be more airy, be more cerebral, and just thoughtful, for lack of a better word. Just something to balance out that Scorpio first. Put the Leo on timeout. Stop trying to take over and be the center of attention and get people to love you through fame and accolades. And maybe try to just be a genuine person and just let whatever comes into your mind, whatever you feel, just express it as it is in that moment, as opposed to being so contrived and controlled, or I don't know. Sometimes I feel like certain types, people, they more so, they know how they want you to see them, or they know what they want from you, like whether it's a reaction or, I mean, anything from like a reaction to a donation of sorts. They know what they want from you, and then they orchestrate who they are from what they want from you, if that makes sense. Like, it's not authentic and it's not coming from within, it's coming from without, basically. It's coming from the end to the starting point, as opposed to from start to finish. Sorry if that doesn't make sense. Okay, here's a better example, a more specific example. Instead of trying to be queen of the world or queen of Hollywood and the biggest and the baddest, whatever image she has of herself, or just let it go. Let it go. Don't think about anything before you say it. Just let whatever will be, will be. That would be exercising her Libra. Just like, oh, whatever. Just whatever. Whatever will be, will be. It is what it is. Just relinquish control, because Leo, ego, love control. Relinquish that control and let the cards fall where they may, which sounds like it would be her greatest fear, just between the Leo and the Scorpio alone. But again, in our fears are our greatest growth. The fear is where it's at. So you got to confront your fears to get all the rewards. That's where all the growth happens. That's what the rewards are. It's like literally you have a pot of gold, but there's like a really evil like bug or fungus or spiders on top that you're deathly afraid of. So how are you going to get to the pot of gold? Are you going to confront those fears? Are you going to figure out what to do about those spiders or that fungus? Find some antidote for it? Or are you just never going to get the pot of gold that's sitting at your feet because you're afraid of what's on top of it? That's a lot like a Scorpio. And the ego of a Leo that needs to be confronted just the same amount, just at a different direction. Whereas like a Scorpio is definite feels, it's the deepest feelings, whereas that ego just comes with a Leo, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just you're born with it, so it's your natural instinct, so you just exercise that image and that ego, and then it just becomes it, then it just runs you, it runs itself. And ego is just an overcompensation for insecurities. So you're spending all that time and energy on just an image as opposed to spending it on your real self. And then after a while, you don't even know who you are. You're just that image. You're just that ego. That's why you got to confront that too eventually. But it's less emotional, I think. It's more just bravado. And it's an overcompensation for something, but not necessarily like deep wounded emotions, unless you have a Scorpio moon. Then it is. Then it is. There's a definite link in this chart. Okay. Before I get off on any other tangents, that's what I see in JLo's chart. She needs to exercise that Libra moon, let the cards fall where they may, relinquish control, put the ego of the Leo in timeout, see how she feels not in control of things, and just say what needs to be said, feel what needs to be felt, express yourself. If she would just take a week and just relinquish all control. Don't plan anything. Don't do anything. Whatever happens, happens. Just let it be. And if you need to say something, say it. Don't think about it first. If you need to feel or express something, do it. Don't think about it first. Don't hold yourself back. Don't think about how is this going to look. And then once you've done that, oh my God, it'll probably be the greatest release of her life. And then after that, that ego will be easier to tame because there won't be those deep-seated wounds that are essentially needing the ego for, they're needing the ego to overcompensate so you never have to look at those emotions. That makes sense. So putting the ego, the Leo on timeout, so you're just left with the Scorpio and the Libra. Let them be. The Libra can help the Scorpio out. And then, once you've done that, the ego won't be so needed, therefore so dominant. It'll just, it can kind of be like put to rest or take a back seat. It's still there if you ever need it, but it doesn't have to be the overriding thing in your life, in yourself, because that doesn't seem fun, and it definitely is not happiness, because again, an ego is just an overcompensation for something else that's missing. All right. Before there's any other tangents, yeah, that's all I see here. Again, all the answers are in your charts, so if you want to look at yours or anybody else's in your life, let me know.